Seniors, this is the second video of looking at trigonometric integrals using the trig identities. For number 2, we have the integral of tangent cubed x times secant x dx. I'm going to rewrite this. So we have the integral of tangent squared x times tangent x times secant x dx. The reason I wanted to change the tangent cubed x is because tangent squared x is part of a known trig identity. But before I get into that, I want to rewrite this. So I have the integral of tangent squared x secant x tangent x dx. And the reason I want to do that is because notice that we have secant x tangent x, and that is a known derivative of a trig function, which is going to be secant x. So we're going to be using that later on for u sub. But for right now, I want to identify the trig identity that we're going to be using. We are going to be using 1 plus tangent squared x equals secant squared x. Because I'm using tangent squared x, I want to get tangent squared x by itself. So that's going to equal secant squared x minus 1. I'm now going to replace this tangent squared x with secant squared x minus 1. So now we have the integral of secant squared x minus 1 times the secant x tangent x dx. All right, now I'm going to use a u sub. If I set u to equal secant x, my du is going to be secant x tangent x dx. Notice that they're both positive, so we don't have to do any negatives. So when I rewrite the integral using the u and the du, I'm going to have the integral of u squared minus 1 times du. So du is this whole piece right here. Now I can just evaluate. So I'm going to look at the integral of u squared minus 1 du. We get cubed, so 1/3 u cubed minus u plus c. All I have to do now is replace the u with the trig function we had earlier, which was secant x. So my final answer is going to be 1/3 secant cubed x minus secant x plus c. And that is my final answer for number 2.